Hello guys, let me talk about today's innovative, much hyped 5G technology that's designed to deliver peak data. I mean, it's like 20 Gbps based on IMT 2020 and kind of requirement that this technology has, like flagship 5G solutions, the Snapdragon. They are the lead initiators, and they have designed to achieve the speed of 20, up to 20. It may start from 10 Gbps and downlink peak data rates. And also talk about the features of this 5G internet, how it achieves its hopping speed, and how it's going to alter our lifestyles, in the sense that all the gadgetries we're surrounded by, the kind of technological advancement, the industrial in the robotics, the automated car makers and driverless cars. I was going to affect navigation, and also talk about mobile networks and how it's going to be really revolutionary and will have far-reaching consequences, mostly positives, although there are lots of fears about this being rolled out in so many countries. And you might have come to know about that so many flights were grounded. In fact, even India had to stop its flight once to the USA, because USA probably was ill prepared to meet this demand, and they took some late decision in rolling out this technology, although it has to come sooner or later. And in fact, there are so many, there are two companies. They had already initiated their operations in almost 60 countries. And the USA, their airports and towers, they were not prepared to switch over or getting this kind of transitioning, because the way navigation works, in fact, most of the pilots, and I've watched some videos where the pilots were really apprehensive about the intervention in the navigations, and the way they locate the proximity of the landing and the sites. And so it will have almost a blinding effect upon them, and they may lose sight, and it might even distort their decisions about how to initiate landing. And so probably they express the well-founded fear that it's going to disrupt the flights to the USA and outbound flights also. And in fact, the disruptions led to the thousands of passengers being stranded at the airport. But it was not about the technology per se. In fact, the USA and some of the countries are ill-equipped, probably I would say ill-equipped, or not really have the kind of preparedness that's required to transform into this 5G internet faster speed technology. Probably the AT&T and Verizon's paused 5G rollout simply because they were not given a go-ahead signals by the airport authorities and the US government. And it might take some time for these airports and to have, in fact, they have asked these two companies to have the towers not in the periphery of the airports, in fact outside the airport periphery, so that even the remotest possibilities of any interventions of the transmission systems shouldn't be affected, because even a fraction of the chances of this intervention would jeopardize the prospects of, it will compromise the safety and security concerns of the flights. and all the fly-by-wire technology, they are not, in fact, technologically speaking, in tandem with, or it has a competitor with this kind of launch of the 5G network. So is 5G really dangerous for the planes, or it's just a sort of ill preparedness or unfounded fear, or that needs to be debated, because when asked, and even the airport authorities, apart from all those seasoned pilots, they all had complaints, and they really fear that if they are not yet prepared to meet this. So what about this is only of aviation. I mean, there are so many other areas where we are going to have that far-reaching impact upon our life with the introduction of this technology. So I'm going to talk about some of the features of this network, fast networks, and how it's going to change our streaming systems, and our, each generation has its own kind of network. For example, we had 2G, and we followed by 3G and 4G, and then 5G. It can reach up to 100 times faster than 4G. And the basic difference lies in the level of latency. That means there's a loss of transmission, and in fact, Samsung is currently even researching 6G. Instead of, we're talking about 5G alone, but even 6G, maybe there are waves, and some think 6G may use waves in the radio spectrum, and maybe a decade ago. But let's talk about the case in point here. I mean, what are the basic features that distinguish this 5G technology from the rest of the technology we have had so far? Like streaming high quality video, it would be like with a fraction of a minute, you could download up to a movie itself. And even the communication among devices in the Internet of Things. I mean, it's called IoT, Internet of Things. That we know that we are surrounded by gadgetry these days, and everywhere we are either being linked, or we are being monitored, or we are using it, gadgets or devices in one with the other. And all these devices have interconnectivity, and this, without the loss of the connection and the latency loss, will have all the Internet of the Things environment, where we'll have more accurate location tracking. We have fixed wireless services. I mean, there'll be good communication, robust communication. There will be better ability for real-time analytics. I mean, this self-driving cars, or autonomous car driving. This has to have this kind of, without loss of transmission. So all the mobile operators are vying to have the biggest slice of this promised new land, promised new world. And they're going to have the larger chunks. Of course, Huawei and some other, Nokia too, are in the lead, and they're trying to come up with their own brand of like Snapdragon is the one that is being, really has been in the news for, because it gives you huge business benefits. From transition from 5G, 4G to 5G. So most of the companies like Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, they're implementing an waves. And I mean, it's a very tiny wave, and they're trying to have the T-Mobile on lower and mid-band 5G first. So T-Mobile, like a carrier, starting to embrace the idea of a multi-tier 5G strategy. It means we include use of low band, mid band, or wave frequency. There are three types of frequencies, and Verizon is another big player, and is in fact another leader, and they were the ones to have started in the USA around the airports. this 5G technology, towers. In fact, these towers are already being installed in 60 countries, and most of the countries are into it, including India and some of the big giants. They're into this, like Reliance, Geo. So obviously, when that's going to replace the rest of the transmission system, and AT&T has already released this network. It has gotten an upgrade also, and it's actually rebranding. And they already have the setups, the kind of requirements that. So it's all about having a new tower, the new installations, and technically the marketing strategy has to be altered a bit. Because first of all, the phones will be affected. So all those phones without 5G and not working in a Snapdragon, they will have to be replaced. So we'll have to say goodbye to our phones that we have now. Obviously, Huawei has come up with most of the 5G experiences, and some examples of 5G enabled phones include like Samsung Galaxy S10 onwards 5G, then Note 10 Plus, Samsung Galaxy OnePlus 7. These already have the alternative. You could switch from 4 to 5, or OnePlus 7 Pro, or Xiaomi, this Huawei Mate 10, Huawei Mate 30 Pro, Xiaomi MI 5. These are already have a switch over to the new, kind of. So how are we really prepared for the deployment of 5G in, I'm talking about the developing nations, not the one they can easily switch over to, and they can always go for new brands of devices. In fact, what I'm trying to recall is that this technology is going to alter the way we use the technology per se. Because we have virtual world incoming, a metaverse. I've talked about this earlier. The Facebook is launching its virtual reality world, also augmented reality, and gaming world is going to be almost real for sure. So this gaming platform, they need consistent and very robust kind of transmission system. And when we launch ourselves into this unreal real world, like that's called metaverse, we need to have no loss of, without any loss of transmission. And if there is any, the virtual world experience, that is a real world experience, would be lost if there is any disconnectivity or drop in the. So not only aviation industry, but also going for all the industry like robotics. Let's talk about Tesla cars, which are almost autonomous and it's driverless. Now the aim thing is that the AI involvement, artificial intelligence and augmented reality and virtual reality and locations tracking and GPS systems, they all will be controlled by one panels, and we will need to have, including India and then Middle East I'm talking about, first of all, to switch over to this kind of, to avoid the flight disruptions, because those 60 countries with the rollout of 5G will definitely take a lead, and most of the wireless towers have to be upgraded, and the time has to be decided whether we are ready for this kind of, or we continue to have this spooky, So US Airlines wants 5G could ground planes and wreak havoc at airports. Well, that's fine, because the airports are not ready or prepared. The technology has to offer its bit, and it's the technology that you can hardly reverse this process, because we need to have faster internet connectivity. when you're moving into. So the problem with the airplanes are they have the radio altimeter that tell us that tell the pilots where they are exactly, how to land, and it helps in the navigation and negotiation of the distance. And so their concern is that unless this altimeter system is adjusted with the 5G, the flights might, I mean, it's a remote possibility, but it could happen a day, or even, I mean, we can't take chances with such aviation technology. So we need to have the towers first, and this is the 2 miles periphery of the airport where we have to be cautious about. So for the time being, USA, they've asked these 2 companies, Verizon and Larsen L&T, to keep those towers away, I mean 2 kilometers away from the proximity of the airports. But I mean, that would give some time for the airport's authorities to either tweak with this altimeter thing, and since the company have bought some new 5G airlines installations, and they are not to be blamed. In fact, so 5G wireless could wreak havoc with the flights. This is ridiculous. I mean, I don't get it that if the technology has to go along and in tandem with the latest innovations, instead of reversing the trend, we have to advance, and we have to talk about how to switch over and do the transition instead of saying no to the technology, because 5G can be really a game changer in the world of internet service providers, not only in communication in the real time, but also without any loss of the transmissions. So it's a home internet service provider. It's a wireless modern alternative to existing wires. It's not going to have any more wires, and they can serve the customers using 5G infrastructure, making the coverage, performance, and deployment flexibility. It's a compelling alternative to fiber, DSL, and cable solutions. Every day we face the problem of this transmission lagging, and so actually this technology is available. I mean, 5G is available most of the parts of the world, and all major phone manufacturers are already into commercializing it. They're manufacturing it. And in fact 60 countries plus, I mean more than 16 countries. It's a faster rollout than actually it was anticipated. In fact, it has been adopted more, I mean, in a better manner and in a more effective manner than 4G. And we consumers are really excited about the high speeds and also the capability to without the in fact it's going to be much more cost effective, hassle free, without much of the installations and the optical fiber works, and its kind of momentum that it has gained is not going to stay any longer. In fact, it was rolled out in 2020 itself, and instead of bickering about its switching over to like we have been advancing from one step to the other, the smartphones with subscription will be available, and the technology is going to stay in our, in fact, this premier phones like Snapdragons are going to be very soon in the hands of the commoners. It's going to be cheaper also. And I've come to know that Elon Musk has his own plans of giving us through Starlink a very fast and sustained level of connectivity, which is satellite based. I mean, it won't have anything on Earth. In fact, it will launch a satellite and it will have better connectivity from the satellite itself, calling a Starlink. Recently there was an mishap also. The satellite went missing or some kind of since he is onto the inhabitations of Mars and having a kind of 100,000 people being inhabiting that Mars. So they will have continuous connectivity through. So we'll not have it on the ground. In fact, we'll have through the satellite. And Elon Musk is also having an eye on coming with a phone that's called Pi. And Pi would be much more advanced than what we have with Apple series, because that mobile phone has created a lot of wave among the consumers, if it is to be believed, because this mobile is going to be solar power, no need of charging. It will also have unbreakable body with reflecting colors. It will have more user-friendly with a direct access of the Wi-Fi from the Starlink through satellite. And there's definitely going to be a top-notch technology in the mobile world, because now we have Samsung and Apple's that are coming as the brand leaders. And if Tesla, Elon Musk is really into this new business world, he has got a reputation of having 100% success with whatever idea he toys with. So hoping to get better connectivity and better mobile technology and 5G technology. It is pioneering, and it is expanding, and it will have a cellular use of spectrum that has already created a wave. Is going to be a technology leader, because with the next 10 to 20 years we will have all the devices interconnected. Medical world will revolutionize, because we'll have diagnostics in advance. In fact, Apple, they have an idea of how to connect your phone as your medical counselor. All your pulses and the feelers of your inside a body, that will be transmitted instantly to the hospital. And hospital, in the doctors, they will have first a glimpse of your basic, what we call them, the vital signs of your health conditions. And just looking at the vital signs, they will be able to not only diagnose, but also be able to administer immediate medical help. And it would be like instantaneously taking decisions without, and probably they could also consult with other doctors worldwide in critical cases. So 5G is an innovative platform for the next decade, and we'll continue to push for this technological boundaries to address new market needs and support future services. And I'm really hopeful of having a quantum leap with this technological innovations. It's a breakthrough that knows no boundary. It's going to alter every facet of our life, and it's going to be make our life much easier, given the eye clouding and our too much reliance and dependence on AI interference capabilities and robotics, also to the cloud computing, and then digitizations of the economy and our online transactions and cryptocurrencies in the making. And in fact, 5G was envisioned long ago. In fact, 2020, they've already rolled out some of the key technologies regarding this. And the future of 5G workshop was started in San Diego headquarters. And no country would like to be left behind in this race. China being the lead because of this Huawei company, and Xiaomi also in the lead, and they have already come up with Qualcomm 5G, that's called Qualcomm, and Snapdragon is a lead, innovative provider, this fast provider. And if it has to stay, and obviously this deployment strategy needs to be evolved, and the kind of investment that we had with 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, this investment is also going to be worth. But still part of the world would remain glued to the older or a bit slower kind of technology. But since all the industries are being almost going digitized and almost going high tech because of the supercomputing, and not only supercomputing, it is also the involvement of less involvement with humans, more involvement of intelligence, and that especially with the DNA mapping and the way our brain operates, and the way AI, artificial intelligence, would compete with the humans in the true form. And God knows a day might come when super intelligent technology will beat we humans, at least as far as computing, decision making, and taking the right decisions at the right moment without loss of sanity and all that. So obviously we humans are being challenged by technology, and we challenge the technology, and technology challenges us. So the aviation industry is one which is not yet prepared, but in fact this 5G technology will have its intervention in almost all walks of life. Every industry will be definitely touched upon, and we'll have every industry will have to switch over or modify its technology to suit to the needs of this alterations or transition, and we'll welcome this technology at any cost. It's inevitable. We cannot just simply sit back and say no to this innovative kind of. So for the time being, it's a bit slow because of the pandemic and all, but I'm sure that within a couple of years this is going to touch upon all of us, and probably positively, not negatively. And I'm really optimistic about the way Qualcomm future of 5G has been rolled out, and how these lead manufacturers and mobile operators, and it's like hand in gloves. Mobile operators, technological innovators, and then the kind of infrastructural setups, the operations aspects of, and kind of investment by the government. When they all they join hands and they welcome the technology for the right purpose, for the right usage, for majority of us, especially when we have digital world in the offing, and we have hybrid kind of workplace, and even in the education field we'll have more applications, more immersion technology. In fact, we'll have all kinds of distance learning packed, and we human teachers might find a replacement in the form of humanoid robots, which are being developed as akin to our humans. They look alike. They are in fact smarter sometimes. They hoodwink. They can take you for a ride, and they can also offer solutions where we fail. And we humans have our own oddities and eccentricities, and it's hard. We have lapse our own sanity at times, and because we suffer from emotional setbacks and psychological psychological deficiencies, I would say, because we don't stay the same all the time, with ups and downs of our emotional upbeats. And so technology will be affecting every nook and corner of the globe, every aspect of our life, whether we like it or not. So let's welcome 5G as we have welcomed the other spectrums and communication devices and the systems. And thank you so much. I'll come up with something else in my next video with further elaboration as the technology evolves and I get to know more about